Initiating average male greeting.
What's up?
Oh, let me check. Good. It's still the ceiling. Had me worried there for a second.
It'd be concerning if there wasn't a ceiling, it was just the sky.
Extremely, yeah. It would, yeah, it was there a minute ago. It would be a very desperate situation.
So how's it going?
Where it's going? I've been a busy little body.
Yeah, what you been up to?
Working, and outside of work, I've been doing this whole podcast thing and developing RPG shit.
Oh, wow.
Been a busy boy.
Wow, what RPG are you developing?
I've got two right now that I'm kind of developing, working on kind of like the big dream project. That's short version, it's an alternative to D&D.
Yeah?
But it's a dice pool fantasy system, classless, but you kind of pick an archetype of a sorts, and then you get discounts on things that are related to that archetype. But yeah, I've been working off and on in that for a while now with a friend. And then I'm actually starting to work on one that's going to be much smaller in scope. It's supposed to be something a little bit more rules light. Not a lot of rules, but enough meat on the bone to make it interesting. And that's gonna be called Ultra Mythic, I think is what it's going to be called. And it's gonna be dice pools of varying dice sizes. It's gonna try to be a rules light system that lets you play like really powerful characters compared to normal people.
Well, that's pretty neat. How far along in the development are you?
So that second one, like we just started. I pitched the idea to my friend, and I was like, I think I want to do this, and he's like, "Cool, sounds good, let's do it." So just kind of starting to outline just some of the stuff on that. So that's super early. The bigger project is also pretty early. Mechanics are being developed. Right now, I'm very deep in developing the magic system and how that works. Because it's not going to use it's not going to be like D&D where it's a pre-made spell list. There's kind of, in a way, imagine skill trees of like different categories of types of magic, essentially. But as you advance in them, you can mix the effects from different skill trees in a way that you have to create your spells on the fly. It's a little involved.
You don't say.
I've been deep in developing that. It's kind of been developing that for about a year now. But it's also had like breaks of gone like periods of like working on it for several weeks in a row and then taking a couple of weeks off from it. And of course, holidays always fucks everything up.
Oh, yeah.
So I've kind of been on a break from working on it for now. But we've also got the podcast going. So been doing that with some friends.
Awesome.
Doing tabletop RPG stuff. Just mostly recording actual plays, but then, my co-host Brandon and I, we have our series. He's the guy who's developing these tabletops with me. We have our little mini series that we're doing of like GM advice, player advice, and then we also have our tabletop archaeology where we're going back and looking at older RPGs and stuff like that, and just looking at them and talking about them.
Which ones are you looking at right now?
So our first episode for that, we did Harn 3rd edition, which was a fucking trip. And then we did an episode talking about Fireborn, which was very amusing. And our next episode is going to be about Vampire the Masquerade First Edition, which is going to be interesting.
I imagine so, because I've heard mixed things about Vampire the Masquerade.
It's a very historied game. It came on the scene. It kind of really made a name for itself. There was a period of time in the 90s where the prevailing attitude was kind of, yeah, sure, you started with D&D, but if you were really a role player, you graduated to the World of Darkness games, which generally meant playing Vampire, because it was the most popular World of Darkness game. So we're going to be looking at First Edition, which I've played a good amount of 20th Anniversary Edition and 5th Edition. Brandon has touched 20th Anniversary Edition a little bit, so it's going to be a interesting experience for him and amusing to me, more than likely, to see the quaint nature of First Edition.
You gonna tackle Warhammer at all?
The role-playing games, potentially. We might talk about the Fantasy Flight game ones. We did talk about them a little bit when we did our review of Wrath and Glory, because we played Wrath and Glory on the podcast. Mm-hmm. We were initially going to play Death Watch. And we tried to make characters in Death Watch, and we had to postpone for a week as we switched to Wrath and Glory. Because those games were definitely inspired, but man, were those books poorly organized and just littered in keywords that you had to go flipping through the book to find, and it was annoying. So, yeah, I got that going on, and I've just been running a lot of games in general. And playing in games. I've just been a busy boy. Just a really busy boy.
Understandable.
And we've also got we're going to be working on some projects to release on the Storypath Nexus. It's like a are you familiar with like what do they call it? Like D&D has like the open gaming license where you can make homebrew stuff and sell it for D&D. Storypath Nexus is kind of a similar thing, but for Onyx Path publishing products. So like I've been getting really hard into the Trinity Continuum stuff. So we're actually going to be making our first supplement that we're going to develop for that is a supplement called Green War for Trinity Continuum Aberrant. This is going to be about playing what are called Novas, people with superpowers that are eco-terrorists, essentially. Because Aberrant is cool as fuck. Best superhero tabletop RPG on the market by far, in my opinion. It's amazing. Some people may disagree because you can't do magic, or you do like telepaths, which I say get fucked. It's like that's why it's so great, is it has like an actual like focused setting with a story going on, rather than just like Mutants and Masterminds, which is like, yep, everything exists here, figure it out for yourself. Like, okay, fucking hell. It's also actually like reasonably balanced, unlike other games like Mutants and Masterminds.
Well, on the subject of stories, I've been pretty busy myself, and I want to share a game and a story with you, because I've
been seeing you've been getting people booty bothered on the internet.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. Just a little bit.
Someone has an opinion on the internet.
Some people liked it, some people weren't too happy with me about it. It is what it is, but
yeah, man, people are fucking crazy.
Yeah, especially with the FNAF universe.
Yeah, which I don't. I'm gonna be honest, I don't get I get that you can like I get being into the story for it and everything because it's got that whole like I don't want to say found footage vibe, but it's got that I mean I guess some of it is kind of found footagey, especially like the first person game and stuff like that. But it's got what gamers love. It's got fucking secrets, right?
Yeah.
So I get it, but at the same time, this isn't a big like. This isn't like a big AAA series or yet like it's just FNAF. Like somebody doesn't like it, just don't watch their stuff or like, just disengage. Like it's an indie game. It's anything. Like it's a thing. Therefore, not everybody's gonna like it. So I don't know. I don't know why people on the internet still haven't like captured this idea of not everybody has to like everything you like. I don't know. Like I think people identify with things as like a personality trait too much, and they take it as a personal attack when you don't like what they like.
Yeah, and it's always interesting with Five Nights at Freddy's because there is the premise, which is kind of interesting. The problem that I've noticed with it is that it hasn't fucking ended yet, which is kind of annoying.
Oh no, yeah, it's not going to end until they stop making money, probably at this point, or like the creator actually just finally gets fucking bored of it. I don't know if that's going to happen because they're still fucking making it.
Yep.
And I doubt they take much effort for these games. So
yeah, especially not after playing through a security breach. But that's another topic.
Fair. Very fair.
For this one, this is one of the fan games that was brought to my attention. It's it's one of the ones that has been touted as the hardest. It's not, but people like to say that it is.
Yeah, I don't know about difficulty in FNAF. That's
well, the difficulty with this game is that there's a lot of mechanics, and the developer doesn't have the best way of getting those mechanics across to the player. Just as an example. I wonder if they show it. They don't. All right, so just as an example, that's on. Yeah, I'll just show you the first night, and then I'll swap over and show you the sixth night after we look at the story for this, because I really want to know what you think about it. But this is how we're handling the tutorials. So you have it explaining this room, and then you turn around, and it explains this room, and then it explains this room.
Oh, that fucking okay.
Yeah, and the animations, and then it explains this room.
I don't really get motion sick, but the walking animations, I imagine there are people unironically going.
Oh my gosh!
What do you mean?
You're gonna make me sick, Bowie.
No.
I might actually get motion sick if you keep turning around like this.
I'm not meaning to.
I know you're not, but this camera is actually getting to me.
Funny you mentioned that. I showed this to someone else, and he was about to get motion sick from it.
Jesus. It's bad, dude. Like, if somebody who doesn't get motion sick actively, immediately just having a reaction should tell you a lot.
I mean, this is actually kind of tame compared to one that I know about.
Like what? No. Are we recording?
Yeah.
Okay. I was thinking about saying something. I was like, maybe I shouldn't. I don't know how you rate your. I don't know who you're expecting your audience is, so maybe I won't say what I was about to say.
But we got all of these. And it's really weird because I thought I clicked on night 1. It's showing me the tutorials for night 2.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And
the entire game is like this, huh?
yeah, pretty much. And there's that room. And then we have this panel. And here we go. There's explaining that, and explaining that, and explaining that, and explaining that, and explaining that.
Okay, I just gotta throw this out there because this shit drives me crazy as like a gamer. Fucking, I understand this is like a fan project thing. Their budget is probably a big fat like $0 or something to that effect. But this is a lot all at once at the start of the game. I hate that in games when they're like, they drop you in the game and it's just like wall of text after wall of text after wall of text, and there's nobody explaining it to you, but it's also just a ton of information all at once. It's awful. It's like, I'm not going to remember all this. This is too much information all at once. Like, I'm not stupid by any stretch of the imagination, but like, you're literally giving me the fucking textbook for how this game plays in like a couple minutes with no like breaks, no chance to absorb that information or really interact with anything. So I'm not going to remember all this.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that.
Yeah. Also, the percentage sign in front of the numbers, was this made by an American, or was this like a non-English speaker?
I believe the creator is from the UK.
Okay, so they don't have an excuse, is what I'm hearing. It's something I've noticed a lot in non-English speaking countries where they will put signs before a number, like or a number before a sign, depending on what it is. For example, a common one is like somebody will say like $10, and so they'll put the dollar sign after the 10. And in the US, you don't do that. That's not actually correct. Even though there are people in the US who do that, that is not the correct notation. But seeing the percentage sign in front of the 10 made me think maybe they were foreign or something, and they saw that with the dollar sign, and they're like, oh, well, maybe they put their symbols in front of the number, well, and just decided to throw the percentage in front of 10.
Well, that could be a thought, but right above it is the correct way to write it, and then above here is also...
You're right. I didn't even see those. My brain immediately just honed in on the incorrect thing. Holy shit. Yeah, no, that's just a glaring typo. Damn. Whew. Okay.
I think they have... There's a lot of typos throughout this game, which...
Yeah. Like, my advice to anybody, if you're like somebody who's in indie and you're watching this or whatever, like, you don't need to... Like, if you can afford it, pay somebody to like edit your stuff. Sure. Yeah, great. But I'm very realistic when it comes to indie stuff. Like, I understand a lot of people are doing these things on like shoestring or no budget at all, so I get it and I respect it. If you don't have a budget, see if you have a friend who's willing to at least spend some time and help you out here and there, and just check behind you on some stuff like this, because it'll do wonders for you to catch a lot more of the obvious stuff like this, to not be the one editing it yourself, because your brain is going to like autocorrect your own mistakes way more than you think it does.
Oh yeah. That's something that I mentioned when I made my video on this game too. Is like, yeah, this is one of many examples of a lot of the things that you see throughout this thing. And like I said, this is the Night 6 tutorial, which is this many pages of telling you how to get through everything, because you know the basic structure for like Five Nights at Freddy's games, right? It has like a certain number of animatronics, and it has a certain number of nights, and like night 1 you're dealing with 1 or 2 of the animatronics, night 2 you're dealing with a little more, and then by the end of the game you're dealing with all of them, and it's just throughout all the night. Well, in this game, it's kind of a little different. In this game, nights 1 through 3, you are dealing with, I want to say 7 animatronics by night 3. And then in this game, well, not this game, this part of the game, he had to split it into 2 parts. So that's part A. Part B, on night 6, you are dealing with, I want to say...
When you go to part B, do you have to like take the game out and flip it over and put it back in? That's a joke half of your audience is probably not gonna fucking get.
Probably not. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Not that one. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 animatronics. And it's splitting them off into 2-hour segments. So this number is 2 hours, this number is 2 hours, this number is 2 hours. And the funny thing is that he's changed the mechanics for all of the ones that you encountered before this night.
See, here's the thing that gets me with these games. You're gonna have so many animatronics, but then like half of your cast of animatronics are just alternate versions of already existing animatronics.
Yeah.
Why not make new animatronics? You know, maybe I'm crazy, but I feel like that would be a good opportunity to do something like that.
Well, he kind of goes down that route, because he at least puts another name in front of them, and he has like a sort of original idea. Like, one subclass of these animatronics are the miniature animatronics, and they are shit, it's really hard to explain before getting into the story, but
if
it's
it was
like
me, I would almost rather see just a brand new, like, if you're making a fan thing, I think I would like really like to see, you know, instead of you just rehash kind of what we already got.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see creators create like an animatronic with its own personality and stuff, because you know everybody assigns a personality to the already existing animatronics and stuff. I don't know, like if it was me into this stuff, I would definitely want something fresh.
Yeah, I think because of the story that he was trying to tell, it sort of makes sense that these are kind of like rehashes of the original, because the story that he's telling is like this whatever the fuck toys company, it's this company that's being made by the main antagonist from the Five Nights at Freddy's series, right? So William Afton is the guy that made all the robots there, and now he's the main antagonist for this company. So to that extent, I understand why he's using like different versions of different models of the things that we've already seen. But yeah.
So are the original animatronics based off of like toys, or is this toy company based off of the animatronics?
I don't know.
Or am I misunderstanding? Okay.
So in the Five Nights at Freddy series, you have Fazbear Entertainment as the evil company, right? Well, in this story, this is like next to Fazbear Entertainment or something, and this is this toy company.
Okay.
I think it's like taking the place of it, but it still uses William Afton as the.
Okay. It's just recontextualizing in like an alternate, like universe or whatever.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Interesting.
So, because this is called Post Shift 2, obviously there's a game that comes before it. It's Post Shift 1. The only real things that you need to know from that game is the protagonist in that game, Thomas, was working at this toy company at this location as a security guard, and understandably was a little traumatized by the fact that all of the robots there were trying to kill him. And he tried to tell all of his friends, including our character from Post Shift 2, but nobody believed him. And he was going on his own to try and stop Afton from creating more of these killer robots, right? No one believed him until he disappeared. So everyone was like, what the fuck? The part that isn't revealed until sometime after is that Thomas was caught by Afton, and his body was used to create Revenant Bonnie, the blue rabbit that you see in Post Shift 2. And that's really the only thing that you need to know from Post Shift 1.
Okay, so this dude is trying to like tell people about this shit. Nobody believes him, and the story proceeds to story because horror story shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so that brings us to the start of Post Shift 2, which is this little cutscene here. Are you ready?
As ready as I can be for FNAF story.
Fair enough. For context, for whatever reason, they call Revenant Bonnie One Eye. And the reason is obvious. He's missing an eye.
Once I find a way out of this forbidden chamber, I'll tear you all apart limb from limb. And when they find out, you're all in for a treat. It'll be just like in the old days, Thomas. Oblivious fools. Do I look like something that cares about having his arm removed? I'll just simply put myself back together again. And again. And again. Let's see about that, shall we?
And that is our introductory.
It's a little heavy-handed, I think. I mean, I get what they're going for. I don't know. Maybe I've seen maybe I've seen too many like better executions of this type of scene of like, you're trapped in here with me type vibe.
Mm-hmm.
But oof. I don't know. I'm not gonna comment too hard on the voice work. This is a fan project. It is a little jarring though.
Yeah.
Here's this talking animatronic that you are supposed to be scared of, and the interviewer is just like extremely flat delivery. He's not remotely concerned at all, which I don't know. I don't feel like however endured you are, you wouldn't exactly be talking to like a haunted animatronic thing with indifference.
Well, not just that, a haunted animatronic thing that is actively threatening to kill all of you and is also not restrained in any perceivable way.
Which is also kind of a head scratcher here. You know this thing is dangerous, and you've somehow like contained it in a room with a microphone and are interviewing it.
Interviewing it for the 4th time, by the way.
Oh, okay. Sure. I guess. Okay. I don't know. This is like I said, I didn't have high expectations. Yeah, that's a thing. I don't want to say it's bad necessarily, but could have been executed better.
Yeah, it could have. Also, the very first typo that I ever noticed in this game, you are only source of life, is that weird heart of yours.
Yeah, there needs to be a "the" in there.
Well, not just that, it's the wrong "your."
Oh, that's true. That is true.
The second I saw that, I was immediately paying attention to any other typos that there might have been, of which there are many.
Yeah. I was misreading the sentence there for a second, but yeah, no, it would be a different "your."
Yeah. You are only source of life. Is that weird? Words are important.
My brain was auto-correcting it to you are the only source of life in that weird heart of yours.
Yeah, no. It's supposed to be just your.
Which I honestly feel like my interpretation would go harder than what is said here, honestly. Because they're still going on the idea of these animatronics are like possessed by dead children, right?
In this one, no, actually.
Oh, well, I retract my statement then.
I'm pretty sure this one is supposed to be a little bit different. You got. Are
they supposed to just be animatronics that are alive?
Well,
or are they still like possessed? Just not by children.
I'll put it this way. I know for sure that this one is alive because of this heart that he has. There are some others that are alive. I don't fucking know how.
That's a choice.
And I've been looking at this game for a little over 16 hours trying to figure that exact thing out. I haven't gotten anywhere.
Okay. All I have to say to that is consistency, people. Consistency.
Yes. I mean,
or if you're going to be inconsistent, specifically call it out and explain it in the story.
I mean, well, I can't exactly say that because we're about to show that these animatronics also brought our character in Post-Shift 2 back to life. And we later learn, if we get the good ending to this game, spoiler, there's multiple endings. If you get the good ending, it is revealed that you have been in an animatronic suit the entire time. You have been in an endoskeleton. So, in lesser words, they just threw your soul, I guess, into this endoskeleton. But yeah, you're not human anymore. You're a robot. But it's not because you're a dead child. Well, you're still you.
Whack.
Here's the cutscene. Are you able to read that tiny ass text down there?
Yeah.
Okay. The one that's talking is this one. This one just doesn't move.
I didn't even realize there was a dude on the right. So, thanks for pointing that out. 'Cause
You're
I would
welcome.
I would not notice that.
Actually, I'll show you what he looks like because that does absolutely nothing. And I remember being very confused by the end of the game. Let me find it. Post shift 2 Ricky. Yeah, so it is. The one on the right is this guy.
Oh. That's another Bonnie.
It is. But he is a crafted Bonnie.
It's just giving me Metal Gear vibes.
What makes it easy?
Be like, it's not. This is Solid Snake. This is Liquid Snake. This is Venom Snake. This is Big Boss. This is like, okay, sure, all right.
What makes it better is that he looks really fucking tiny in every other cutscene, but here he's just standing.
Okay.
But anyway. Okay. Gotta tie up loose ends. And we basically enter like police interrogation mode. It's like, take us back to the start of the first night. Where were you on the 11th, right?
Yeah. It's like, I have mixed feelings about these kinds of things. Sometimes they can be fun, but more often than not, I would prefer the story to just happen sequentially. Like, I feel like a lot of these types of things try to be a lot more dramatic by chopping up the story and doing flashbacks and stuff, but man, they get exhausting.
They really do. So this is all of part A that we're going to be seeing for this little segment here. So
Delightful.
So for the first 3 nights, when you're talking to this guy, when you go to the actual nights, that is you supposedly recounting your time working at the actual facility while you were still a human, still alive. And the incident would be Thomas's disappearance.
Okay.
And yeah, that starts the night.
Yeah, when you're doing these interrogation type things, don't be like, "Oh, you're doing this thing, right?" It's like it's obvious that you're writing it that way because the player's probably missing information or whatever. But it's if the player should already know about this stuff, don't talk to them like they're a fucking 5-year-old. Like, this is what you're gonna do, right? Like, if you want to say something to that effect, don't turn it into a question, because if the character knows and the character you're speaking to knows, then just have the character be like, yes, I know you were there looking for that information. Like, and you could use that exact same sentence, but just cut the right off on the end and just make it a statement. Don't make it a question. It's like, okay, cool. I don't feel like I'm being fucking handheld through this. It's kind of insulting to the reader's intelligence.
Nah, what do you mean?
And back to Motion Sickness Simulator.
Yeah, so these first 3 nights are you as the character, you got this job at this warehouse because this was where Thomas worked. So the obvious thing to do to figure out what happened to him is to start working at this place where he was working and try to find some clues as to his disappearance.
Whenever I see animation like this, I'm like, I really desperately want to ask the animator, like, hey, have you ever walked before? it's a choice to animate like this, and I'm gonna be honest, it's a bad choice. It is. Even if I was in FNAF, I would not play this. Just on this point alone, to be honest. Because wow, playing a game that plays like this, no, just no. I wouldn't.
And then you survive the night. And at the end of each night, you come to your old house. This was your house before you died.
I'm fucking sorry. Ooh. I'm gonna go on a limb and say this is probably just a bunch of, reused assets. Probably.
Oh, most definitely. But
good God. Who designed this? Who made these interior decisions? You've got pink and brown, and the place is a fucking mess. Good grief.
Yeah, you got this. So funny thing about this cabinet, you got this lock cabinet, right? And this is all lore stuff. So this is stuff that you need to find these secret things throughout the nights to be able to unlock the stuff at the house, to be able to find the lore, because secrets and gameplay and lore, we all understand that. When you find the thing to unlock this cabinet, inside the cabinet is a key. And I could not find a single place for that fucking key. I looked on the wiki and it said the key goes to the chest in the bedroom. There is no goddamn chest in the goddamn bedroom. So I don't know where the key goes.
Delightful. I'm also just looking at these cabinets and I am flabbergasted. What house looks like this? Whose kitchen looks like this? Like, the cabinet doors on the left here look like they actually just took a regular door model and then just scaled it down. And the doors, like where this like lock thing is on, like both of these doors look like they're supposed to be like a freezer door on a fridge freezer unit. But they've just been recolored and just moved. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they look so utterly out of place. And then you have these like cabinets with no doors underneath the other part of the countertop. Like what? What is this house?
And also that it's really
we had purple and brown like in the hallway in the living room, and now we come in here to like white and gray countertops with blue black backsplash. Like, I'm not an interior decorator by any means, but move out. Honestly, get a new place. Also, like, is that a window? Like, is that supposed to be on a window on the left there on that wall? Like, what is that?
This?
Yeah, what is that? I don't know what that is.
Pretty sure
looks
that's
like it's supposed to be like a thin window. But
pretty sure that's the cabinet case.
What? Oh, what?
Because if we go down the hall, we see an arm in a very similar case. So it's the display case.
Bruh. Man spent probably like $200 custom ordering this case for this arm to display it in his house because I guess he likes living with his trauma hanging on his walls. So, okay, sure, whatever.
And another thing is that you got this text at the bottom. It's like, so the idea is that you haven't been at this house because you've been dead. And since you've been dead, it's like there's been like one or two people, some mysterious people who came by the house, and someone still comes by every now and then. And out here, under here, it's been hard to keep this place maintained. We don't know who the fuck is talking to us.
Maintained? I mean, the couch is fucking needs to be thrown out. And also, you just have a lamp sitting on the couch because I guess the that table next to the couch is not good enough.
It also says you've rarely visited after what happened. Probably understandable being fucking dead. And now it's time to face the past. What the fuck does that mean? Because you're trying to figure... The entire point of your existence is trying to figure out what happened to Thomas.
I'm gonna give this the benefit of the doubt, since we don't clearly have somebody talking to us, and assume it is him talking to himself.
Possibly.
Yeah, I can't help it. That brown patterning, was that just a carpet texture that he put on the walls? I'm having a hard time imagining that was meant for a wall texture. Well,
obviously,
I don't know.
wallpaper.
There's a lot of ugly wallpaper out there, so maybe I am wrong, but it almost looks more like it's supposed to be like a carpet pattern than a fucking wallpaper pattern. I don't know. It's living rent free in my head how awful this house looks. Dude, bro, these things tried to kill this man, and he's keeping fucking plushies around his house of them. Get help. See a therapist. Holy fuck, dude.
Let me see here. These items appear to be a mixture of different objects collected over a long period of time. For some reason, all have been placed within a storage box. I've noticed that some of the things in this room shouldn't be here, almost like they were placed here for a reason. Things have changed.
Or never changes.
Yeah, you get
Bruh,
that.
no fucking way that chick's going out the window. Nah, man, like, these motherfuckers tried to kill you. You're going to keep, like, little mini versions of them around your house, and then one's going to, like, start moving? Hell no. Hell no, dude. Ain't no fucking way.
Well, not just that, it also talks to you after you
fuck all the way off. Destroy it.
Also forgot to mention, at the end of each night, you have this minigame. And this minigame is bullshit. Because you are supposed to run away from this guy. And along the way...
Oh, God!
And along the way, you're supposed to collect the 5 kids. If you do not collect the 5 kids, he kills the 5 kids. And you need to collect the 5 kids because collecting all 5 slows him way down. If you don't do this, he will essentially sprint the length of the entire map and kill you.
No, delightful.
And sometimes he just decides to do that before you actually collect all of the kids. So this minigame is bullshit. You see it like right there.
Yeah, I mean, they're like disappearing before you even get to them.
Yeah.
And like, this is pretty explicitly just holding right on the controls, really.
Yeah. Also, you slow down after a period of time, so he can catch you if the kids are not placed in an optimal location for you to get them all before he gets you. So, I mean, that minigame is bullshit.
Just wow.
And then we have the beginning of night 2. So for reference, subjects 1 through 5 are recreated versions of the animatronics from Post Shift 1. Basically, the animatronics from Post Shift 1 were like basically like FNAF 4. They were all torn up and busted up and freaky looking. So the lore, quote unquote, is that Afton took those models and freshened them up a little bit, so now they look not fucked up. And these are subjects 1 through
4.
Yeah,
I know this one. Nodders. For sure.
They basically look like this guy.
Yeah, okay. Sure.
And then after making these, he makes the miniatures. Encounter the miniatures. That's what he worked on after them. The miniatures are supposed to be more easily controlled, typically held in stasis while their researchers gathered information on them.
Did they really shorten miniature to miniatures?
I don't know what the intention is with that word.
I mean, I would have to assume, right? If that's what this miniatures is supposed to refer to, you tried to shorthand miniature to miniature. Thanks, I hate it. That's all I really have to say about that. You can't. Well, I mean, you think they would sign this agreement beforehand, knowing how dangerous the animatronics are? But okay.
No, they're not dangerous. See, these have virtual environments so that they can maintain a good mental stability.
I don't know, dude. If I was a businessman, knowing I was fucking with Hellspawn animatronics, everybody would be signing an agreement before entering the company. I know Story's got a story, and they're trying to like make an indication of how serious it is, but big evil corpo man is not having people work at his facility without signing all kinds of NDAs and waivers and shit. Like, I don't want to make assumptions about this person, but I get the feeling they don't know a lot about how the corporate world works.
I mean, it was just one guy. I think his main thing is like making music. And then, yeah. Why don't you tell us about your second night? Did you see anyone else? Huh? And then, yeah, we go into night 2. Keep in mind, he just asked us to recount our events of like our first 2 nights. And he said, thank you. This knowledge is very helpful for us.
Yeah.
Moved from the premises as requested by Revenant Bonnie, suggesting that Revenant Bonnie is like the head honcho of these 2 guys. Very important to keep in mind. Another thing to keep in mind is like their goal is almost within reach and they can't have us interfere because we know too much.
Sure. Like, I guess.
And the very obvious, please don't come back because you'll probably die if you do.
All right. Pretty standard stuff.
And yeah, that's how that ends. That is the end of part A.
There we go. Flip it over now.
Yeah, flip it over. But an important thing to point out, I'll just boot this up again real quick. It says in these little logs here, Aisle 1, Log 1, you've been offered a place on the job. Finally, an opportunity to bring peace and closure to Thomas's story. Find out what happened to him. And telling us that there's a tutorial there that you might want to follow. Starting to get settled in on your new placement. The job seems relatively good and the pay isn't bad. Also got a chance to find out more information. And then the third one. All hell is broken loose and you realize that there are more terrors lurking in the shadows and old evil awaits you. It is on this night that you must make a choice.
Right.
Right. Also another typo. Get rid of with Remnant Foxy via the drone.
Brilliant.
So, yeah, now we'll flip the tape over. Get into part B. We get it over here. After making a tough choice. What choice did we make? What choice?
Yeah, you just finish night 3 and that's it, huh?
Yeah.
Whack.
I don't remember making any choice.
Hmm.
Choice to come back to the game? I don't know.
I guess. Fucking.
You decided
That's a
to decided to pursue your investigations further rather than give in to the terror. What terror?
I guess that's the implication then is you came back. That was the choice you made instead of giving up.
I guess we got thrown out on the street corner and we said, fuck you, I'm going back in. Like,
if you're gonna like make it out like the player has a choice, actually provide the player a choice rather than this like weird meta choice of like, oh, if you continue part 2, that's you making your choice. Like, don't do that.
yeah. And the rest of the game just is, so we shift gears entirely. We don't have that continuing to come back for each night, just a little bit harder. Now we have switched gears entirely, so we can just mute that. So for night 4, we're basically just staring at this fucker for a really long time. And we're also paying attention to these up here. Virtual discontent in our surrounding activity. When this virtual discontent goes up, we need to go into this little console here. This is our virtual environment. Those things that keeps the miniature animatronics mentally stable. This is that environment, and they're complaining about something. They want something from you, so you just give them the thing that they want, and then they'll shut up for a little bit.
Interesting.
And then you also have to deal with this guy on the screen. So this is one of the puppets that you have to deal with. Anytime it says this, you have to spam click this actual area until it says yes or no. You press Y on your keyboard and then W to go up the catwalks, press Q to turn around, and then he'll stop being a problem.
Okay.
And then we also have to deal with the other puppet, and we have to stare at him until he summons this fucker. Then we spam click the edge of the screen until this thing goes away. And that's pretty much the entire night. If these numbers go up a certain percentage, then we have to pay attention to another group of animatronics that like to hide under that virtual console thing. You basically never see them the entire night, though, if you're just paying attention. But that's all of night 4.
What a bunch of weird mechanics. Like, I don't have anything to say really outside of that. This is
yeah,
those are choices.
They are choices. One of the more confusing ones for me is night 5. And I think it's best just to show you night 5 like this.
Okay.
Because we have the tutorials on. And I want to get your input on how some of these tutorials are written. Because there's a real important thing to point out. Night 5 is basically just the first 4 nights of Post Shift 1. So, like, same mechanics, same objectives, and everything. You have to survive until 6 a.m. And you also have to complete some tasks that are hidden behind this thing here. And that's how you survive the night. So you'll notice on this part of the tutorial, it says activate your mobile control panel by pressing E. And when you do that, it brings it up and it gives you a tutorial for like these separate things and what to do. But a real important thing to do is bring up this additional panel, because you need to complete these insta orders. You can't complete the night unless you do those orders. So I'd like you to tell me where it says in this tutorial that how you're supposed to bring up that additional panel.
Well, that's the neat part. You don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Yeah. So missing very vital information throughout this entire tutorial, because the only animatronic that even mentions that the additional panel is the thing is Foxy, because one of his mechanics requires you to go in it. At no point does it ever tell you that you need to press Q to bring up this part of the panel.
I mean, probably an oversight. It highlights the importance of, have people check behind you on your work, really. Because otherwise, yeah, you have stuff like this. This is why, like, especially in the games industry, playtesters are super fucking important. So important. Because, imagine if this was a AAA game, they didn't play test it. They put this out, and, you have, people going on the forums being like, how the fuck do you beat this level?
Yeah, so Freddy isn't too much of an issue. Chica is kind of simple. We'll look at her last. Bonnie, on the other hand. So to deal with Bonnie, you'll hear a sound cue, obviously, and it'll tell you to go to this stage, and then you'll come to this stage, and he'll be playing his song, and to deal with him, to keep him from attacking you, he'll play 4 different versions of his guitar tune, and you'll see our options here is with drums, without drums, normal pitch, and low pitch. Now, without looking at this part of the screen, with these options here, what do you think we would more than likely do to deal with Bonnie?
I mean, I have no idea. Am I supposed to be going off of the sound that's playing right now, or am I just supposed to guess?
Yeah. No, so we have no idea what his song is supposed to sound like, but with these options, with drums, without drums, normal pitch, low pitch, at least from my point of view, the more logical thing would be, like, if we hear his song with drums, then we select with drums. If we hear it without drums, without drums. If it's in a if it sounds normal,
if you're supposed to mimic it,
yeah. So instead of doing that, if it's playing without drums at a normal pitch and without any glitches, you play his song with drums. If it's playing at a low pitch, you need to play at normal pitch. If it's playing in a glitched manner, you need to play at normal pitch. And if it's playing with drums, you got to play without drums. We don't know when the fuck to use the low pitch, but, it's there.
What the? I guess you're, like, supposed to be correcting it, but that doesn't make a lot of sense if you have a version with and a version without drums.
Yeah, I don't know.
Needlessly obtuse just for the sake of difficulty. That's what I'm taking away from this.
That I came to the same conclusion, and I will show you why after you're done looking at this, because we'll go and look at post shift 1 in a little bit. But we'll come over here to Foxy, and I'll just I'll read this tutorial for you. So this is Foxy's stage. In hyphen order to deal with Foxy, you must keep in mind a few things. 1. Listen for the announcement that tells you the Hertz number required to deal with Foxy. If he appears to have no eyes in the camera mode of the panel, that means you will need to declare that his eyes are missing in the camera. You should regularly check your additional monitor panel before pressing a sine wave. Sine wave would be the Hertz. If a robotic voice tells you that Foxy is becoming aggressive, you will need to do the steps listed in step 2. Once his eyes have returned, you can proceed to exit the stage and move back to the main area. So listening to those, how do you think Foxy is supposed to work on this night?
I'm not even fucking sure. So, okay, you have to listen for the Hertz number that there's an announcement for. If he appears to have no eyes in the camera, you have to declare that it's missing. So somehow. and then you have to regularly check your additional monitor panel. I don't understand where you're supposed to do the declaration. And then there's this if of, because you have to regularly check the monitor panel before pressing the sine wave. I don't know why you need to regularly check if you're checking a thing already. And it tells you you need to do the steps. Listen to step 2. I have no fucking clue what I'm supposed to do here.
So
like it's okay. So I have to know what this Hertz number is, and then it doesn't tell me anything to do with that Hertz number. Like it implies I have to press it at some point, but it doesn't tell me when, and that I have to check a bunch of stuff before I press it. But it doesn't okay, I have to declare that the eyes are missing. Where do I declare that? How do I declare the eyes are missing?
So,
none of this makes sense.
So the way that Foxy works, he can spawn in 2 different ways. If you hear an announcement that's telling you one of these numbers, then you come to his stage and he'll poke his head out of the curtains. When he pokes his head out of the curtains, which he'll do as soon as you show up, you pull up this panel and you select the number that you heard over the loudspeaker. And that's it. That's all you have to do if you hear a Hertz number over the announcements. If you hear an announcement that says go to Foxy's stage, then you come to Foxy's stage, he will not poke his head out, and that's when you need to check the camera to see if his eyes are missing. When you see that his eyes are missing, you close out of these panels, and there will be a button at the bottom of the screen that you'll have to press. Once you press that, you can leave.
Okay.
And that is how Foxy works. If you hear the announcements say to go to Foxy's stage, you don't need to worry about the sine wave because you don't have a number to press. It didn't tell you a number. So you're not going to be looking at the sine wave before you look at the camera. You're just going to look at the camera. Just like if it tells you a Hertz number, you're not going to look at the camera because you don't need to.
Okay.
You just need to press the number.
So what this was a 4-step guide for really what should be an if-then scenario and explanations for the 2 different if situations.
Yeah.
Terribly written. Terribly written instructions.
And that
Once
leaves...
again, play testing.
Yes.
Because people are going to come to these instructions, think they get it, and they're going to be like, what? And they're probably going to still end up doing it correctly, because with how these games are designed, they're so very on the rails, but it's going to confuse the shit out of people.
Yeah. And that leaves us with Chica, who is super simple to deal with. The only thing that you need to do when you hear the sound cue telling you to go to Chica's stage is to just come in here and cut the power. That's all you need to do to really deal with her so that she won't be a problem. All right? So if we go in the panel...
Just turn off the power, Fivehead.
Yeah, just turn it off. So if we look over here and we see her her tutorial here, we got a little bit more than just cut the power. But we only have 2 options here. That's weird. So how about I go back over here to the main area? And then I look at this again. Oh, there they are. So remembering that cut power is the only thing that we really need to worry about to deal with Chica. These may as well not even exist because we don't fucking need them. So the oxygen removal prevents stage 3 power redirection and Chica activity. However, you will need to wear a gas mask for 90 seconds in the meantime. It's basically just like, hey, if you don't want to deal with Chica, you turn this on and you just have to wear your gas mask for 90 seconds.
What does wearing a gas mask
Oh, so periodically there's
when you're removing oxygen from the area?
Well, periodically there's going to be random gas leaks, so you need this gas mask anyway. That's
sure,
fine.
random gas leak, sure, but if you're removing oxygen, I'm not sure how a gas mask is going to help in that situation. It's not going to help you breathe if there's no air to breathe. You know, it's weird.
But hey, we also have prevent, which is Chica will not ghost for a period of 120 seconds, whatever that means. And then temporary, you won't have to deal with her at all, but every hour has a 1 in 4 chance of her killing you.
Yes, RNG difficulty, nodders. Mm-hmm.
Yes, and keep in mind, the only thing that we need to do to deal with Chica is just turn the fucking power off. When we
RNG is only difficulty for speed running. RNG doesn't make your game harder, it just makes it fucking annoying if it leads to a fucking instant death scenario.
So here we are in post shift 1.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, it's the exact same thing. So we'll go to Bonnie's stage first. Because you might notice something. Here in post shift 1, it says that all you need to do is when you hear him playing, you just need to say whether or not it's playing on the left or the right.
Okay.
And if we go over to Chica, actually we don't even need to go over to Chica. We just need to bring up the panel, look at the power override, and it's just cut power. That's all you need to do. And with Foxy,
easy clap. Easy clap.
Easy clap. And same with Foxy. The only thing that we need to do is just that hurts thing. All right? He doesn't have a second way to attack. It's just whether or not it's saying 1, 2, 3, or 4, and we press 1, 2, 3, or 4. So my theory in the video that I made was like this was a situation where he just took post shift 1. But he also wanted to make it not post shift 1, so he just added a whole bunch of stuff. When it would have been more advisable to just keep it as post shift 1, because the idea with night 5 is that you are finally getting to places that Thomas has been. Right? So it makes sense that it would work the exact same way as it did for Thomas. Because you're in the same area, but the mechanics are different now because it's a different game.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I understand you want to experiment with new stuff or try to change up the gameplay and stuff like that, but this isn't really changing it up at all. This is just making it more obtuse.
And then we go from that to night 6, where it just changes everything completely.
Nothing like getting the last level and playing an entirely new game.
Oh yeah. And especially when you have mechanics that aren't even fucking there, like Shadow Freddy, he almost never shows up. And it also doesn't mention one of them because if you run out of power, then an animatronic called Fredmare will show up. But it doesn't mention that anywhere in this tutorial. But it's also really not that much.
It's running out of power, a game over state.
Well, if you're going to die in night 6, you're going to die long before you will ever run out of power. So.
Oh, okay.
But since we're on night 6, I can show you that animation.
Sure. I'm getting some lag though.
Oh, you're getting some lag? So the animation in particular. It's this one here.
Oh my god.
And then we'll go back.
Hate.
And yeah, there you go.
Oh, fucking word, just awful.
Yeah, so continuing this story, we can basically just ignore all of this until we get to Ballora, who, as long as you don't fuck up on night 4, you will never encounter her because she's one of the animatronics that are in the simulation. The only time that you'll run into Ballora is if you don't get to her in time and she spawns in the room. If she spawns in the room, then she's just gonna kill you. So, at least in my mind, canonically, while you're going through this, you just don't encounter Ballora at all because she's in her little stasis pod, I guess. But then once we're done with night 5, we get this cutscene.
You finally reached your destination. I apologize for the little ones. They don't see the world the way I do. I've been lost for a long time. And it feels great to be free again. The others, though, they are still angry. And I am too. However, I realize that the rage and fury within will not achieve anything, not a thing. So I refuse to engage in such a way voluntarily. Through all the suffering that our past torments us with, we know that our only solution is to destroy the very core of the systems that keep us alive. You must eradicate everything. In you we trust. For the eye in blue is the one who always knew. You must go now. I fear I don't have long before I turn again.
And then you start night 6.
I mean, okay, I guess. Fucking, like, you know, I gotta figure, oh, you're the one that will set us free, or whatever. It's like, fucking, y'all been trying to kill me the entire time. Like, do you really want that?
And I'll also remind that the short fucker that we've been talking to in part A threw us out on the street corner because, you know, they were close to achieving their goal and we knew too much and they didn't want us to interfere.
Yeah. It's like definitely really like they're obviously not all on the same page. It's just like they want revenge, but they also want to be free. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, we don't know why they're angry or didn't even have any hint that they were angry to begin with. What their past was, what their torments were quote unquote supposed to be. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to really like, I don't know, be invested in like how they feel or anything like that when you have no real idea why they are the way they are. Like, since it sounds like their origin is different, well, how did they come to be? Like, are they just artificial life? Like, what is this? What am I supposed to agree with setting them free? Like, am I just, you know, is my goal here just to shut this down because this shit is fucked? Or, you know, what's the plan here?
Yeah, and remember, our goal was just to find out what happened to Thomas.
Yeah.
So after all that, we play through night 6, and the way night 6 plays out is like obvious. Like I said, you have the different animatronics sectioned off into hour-long segments or 2-hour-long segments, and then after 6 a.m., You got to survive 200 seconds of essentially the final boss. You have Revenant's End and Amalgamot. The one that we care about is Revenant's End, because that is the amalgamation of all of the Revenant, Remnant, and miniature animatronics all combined into one in an effort to stop you from whatever you were doing.
Okay.
Okay, so the first ending that I'll show you is the bad ending. This is this is the ending that you get by default if you don't look into any of the secrets, if you don't do anything extra, if you don't do anything at all. This is just the default ending. And yeah, that's a bad ending.
Okay. Just, insert standard ominous the darkness dialogue. And I guess fade to blood. I don't know.
Also remembering that was Fredmare. That's the animatronic that you don't see ever because you will never run out of power on night 6. So you have absolutely no idea who that fucker is.
Yeah, he just appears.
Yeah. Just like Revenant Bonnie right at the end there for absolutely no fucking reason.
Yeah.
And then we got the good ending. And that is Revenant's End.
Okay.
Oh god, he's got a knife! I don't know where we get the knife.
Did he stab himself?
No. He stabbed the other guy.
Just decided to take a nap afterwards?
I guess.
don't feel like it has.
Everything they once was.
Yeah. That's a double space there. Pretty sure. That makes no sense. Like, you go running around to keep these animatronics safe while investigating what happened to this Thomas guy, and that turns into them telling you to set them free, which then turns into you killing an animatronic and then revealing you are an animatronic, and that's how it ends. I don't understand at all.
Yeah, but Laura asked you to set them all free to like end their suffering, and since Revenant's End is supposed to be this amalgamation of all of them, that means a little stabby stab means that you kill all of them, so now they're all free and they don't have to worry about anything else anymore. But for some reason you fucking die from that. We don't know why, but these two are still alive.
How are they all combined into one though?
I don't know.
Like, when does that happen? What events occurred that makes this possible?
Well, you know.
I don't. That's why I'm asking. I don't know. It's not clear.
You know, that's just something that they can do.
I didn't realize this was Voltron. Fucking. I mean, man, I guess. Like, this shit makes no sense. Yeah, okay, sure.
Also, just want to point out, you were this animatronic endoskeleton, right?
Yeah.
Why did you need a gas mask?
You know, that is the fucking question. Because you had to, I don't know. I mean, the purpose is they fucking just, they didn't think about it. They wanted to hide the fact that you're an animatronic until the end of the game. You know, like, if you're going to pull a reveal like this, you need to have the consistency. Like, Resident Evil Village did it well. Spoilers for Resident Evil Village if you haven't played it, and you don't want spoilers, but the game's been out for a while now, so if you haven't, then, you know, you made your choices. You know, the main character functions pretty much like a person does outside of, you know, video game logic here and there. Like the big one being like your insane recovery time for like healing and stuff, you know, oh yeah, I'll just pour this liquid on my injuries and I'll be okay. Because, you know, video game logic, right? But then they, you know, twist it on their head in the end, and it's like, oh no, like, you're actually mold, like, you're not a real person. you're molded yourself. It's like, oh, see, now that's a twist. Because it actually explains why the gameplay mechanics are very game-like. Because people can't heal like that. But like in the fiction of the world, it is literally happening like that. Rather than an abstraction like most games are. But this is the version of it done incorrectly where, okay, you got a gas mask on. Why? Because we wanted to trick the player. Okay. I guess. Kind of silly. All things considered.
That we still don't know what this guy's supposed goal was.
Crack. Look at those eyes. Don't tell me he doesn't do crack.
And yeah, that's the
story. I think they just wanted a weird looking little animatronic dude. Just wanted a little guy.
Yep, no, absolutely nothing about him. Don't know why he exists. The other two endings that you can get is basically just explaining more further lore about this stuff.
Yeah, I think it just kind of slaps of a lot of the stuff you kind of come to expect out of things like this. That is, it's all an attempt at shock value with no substance. Like there were attempts made, but there's no real meat here to actually sell you on anything.
Yeah.
Like there's nuts of potential here, seeds of potential, you could say, but nothing is really developed. And I'm going to chalk it up to there are people who are not going to like me for saying this, and that's okay. Because you can't please everybody. But this is why Five Nights at Freddy's, in my opinion, is terrible for trying to tell a story. Because the gameplay is not conducive to it. Like, you know, think back to just the very basics that all of these games are built off of for the first game, of constantly just switching between screens, of just JPEGs essentially, monitoring things. And like most of these games follow that same design principle. Like even in this game, you're just kind of wandering around, looking at images with these really weird animations, and then story is kind of just shoved in between the nights. It doesn't do a lot to actually give you story.
Yeah.
But they're trying to tell this higher concept thing about these animatronics, but we don't get any information on their origin or any explanation as to like why the context of the ending happens. Like, why is the main character an animatronic?
Well,
because
they brought her back to life.
Sure. Like, I don't know. They really just, yeah. It's just an attempt. Like there are some ideas here that could have been cool, but there's nowhere near enough meat on the bones here.
Yeah, that was something that I brought up in my videos, like the narrative and the gameplay not matching. It's like you're supposed to be looking for Thomas throughout these parts, but in the actual gameplay, like here in Night 5, you're dealing with the different animatronics. You're not actively looking for evidence of Thomas being down here, and then you're completing orders for some reason.
Also, if you're an animatronic, why are they trying to kill you?
They just don't like you. They're racist.
Should have known. Non-animal looking animatronic fuck. Yeah, I don't know. Just yeah, it's, you know, of all the Five Nights at Freddy's games, it is certainly one of them. Of all time.
Yes, it is. The reveal that you're an animatronic kind of reminds me a little bit of Soma, and you finding out that Simon is actually a robot, and there are just so many other reasons why Simon being revealed as a robot works better than your character here being revealed as a robot.
Yeah. For sure.
It's just
I still haven't played that game. But it is aesthetically a very cool game.
yeah.
I'm just very over the run around and hide from the monster style gameplay that I just do not like.
Very valid.
Yeah, it's like I when it came to horror games, I really like cut my teeth on Dead Space. So it's like I don't mind being scared, but I want to be able to fight back. The running around shit is just annoying to me.
Yeah, when it comes to games where
hate those games, I just acknowledge they're not for me.
When it comes to games like those, I prefer the ones like Amnesia and Soma. It's like where you're a character where it's actually understandable why you're not really fighting back. It's like Daniel was in Amnesia Dark Descent, Daniel was an archaeologist. He's not a fighter. Simon is just this random schmuck who decided to submit himself for a scientific experiment, and now he's inside of a robot. Even with his robotic body, he's still not a fighter, and he doesn't even know how to really fight back against these things. And so, again, it makes sense for him. Yeah, for those things, I prefer those kinds of stories. Here, it's like for Five Nights at Freddy's 1, where you're supposed to be a security guard. It's like the most common question, usually in a joke, that you hear from other people is like, why don't you just shoot the fuckers? And it's like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I just I wanted to show you that little indie game because that story was one of the more confusing ones that I've seen in a very long time.
It was certainly a story where there were choices made by, the creator, and yeah, it exists. It's out there.
It does exist.
I further cements why I don't really get it. Why people are super into FNAF and its lore. I mean, I understand that there's probably some kids out there that were like, became obsessed with it. And so they've just kind of continued to follow with it. But there's better things out there.
Yeah.
If people do like, fun stories and stuff, you should absolutely go check out Actual Play Broadcast. Little shameless plug. We're on Apple, Spotify, and Audible. For some reason, I always get hung up on what Amazon calls its app, even though I use it all the time. But yeah, Actual Play Broadcast. No funny spellings or anything. It's the big red A. That's a radio tower with a D20.
There you
can find me on there along with some of my other pals and gals playing tabletop RPGs. I'm generally running. Sometimes Brandon is running. We have a game where friend Damiani is running. We've had some fun. We play a variety of things. There is no D&D 5th on there except for a review of D&D 5th. So if you want to know why there's not D&D 5th, go listen to that review. But yeah, we do a mix of things on there. We have a good time. And that's pretty much where I'm at. I don't really do the social media thing right now because yucky.
Very understandable.
Yeah.